You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. There is just so much news going on. It is completely insane. There's so much news going on. Every minute of every day, there's more breaking news. And just as I'm about to go on the air, we're about to start the podcast, another news story comes out that's huge breaking news. And this one's amazing. Donald Trump has been restored to Facebook and Instagram. And, you know, this is a big deal. He was taken off of all of them all the platforms, because of January 6th. Now he's on all of them. And I'm going to go through this story about it in Newsmax. This just happened today. Restored to Facebook and Instagram. And if I were interviewing the spokesperson from Facebook today, my first question would be to them, now that you've restored President Trump to Facebook and Instagram, does that mean that he is no longer an insurrectionist? You know, an insurrectionist is an individual that is trying to overthrow the government of a nation. People that try to overthrow sovereign governments, you don't give access to all these social media platforms and millions of people. So if they call him an insurrectionist, that's just lip service.
I'm just wondering how this all came about, how they made this decision to get him back on the platform.
There's two things in play. Why is Donald Trump back on these platforms? Well, maybe three. Well, let me not put a number on it. Just let me go through the ones that come on my head. There might be two, there might be three. One of them is Elon Musk buying Twitter. They know that Trump's non-compete with Truth Social is up in June. And they are in competition for relevancy with Twitter. So that's part of capitalism. There's competition because he is going to go back on Twitter. Another one is, I think, not so much Instagram, but Facebook. Facebook's users are older. And of the accounts on YouTube, on Facebook, probably half of the people on Facebook are either dead or not active accounts. And the base support of Facebook, the base user of Facebook are older people.
And I think conservative too.
Yeah. Well, most of this country is conservative. Yeah. I know California and New York are not. We got a couple little counties here and there. Yeah. You know, most of America is conservative, and people turned away from all these platforms, including Facebook, when they got rid of Trump. Trump's been off 2 years. The user base to Facebook is older. So a lot of people left because of Trump, and a lot of their people have died because it's an older crowd.
Yeah.
Another reason is that, you know, I know that they don't want you to know this, okay, in the news, and even a lot of Republicans don't want you to know this. We did not lose the elections this midterm. We won the House of Representatives. Nancy Pelosi was fired. We have a MAGA Trump puppet-backed Speaker of the House. It's a MAGA Republican House. They have these Twitter hearings going on right now, and the MAGA Republicans, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and all these other great people, are ticked off at Twitter, and they're putting these people through all kinds of things because of what they did to them. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene yesterday was talking to Twitter about how she didn't have her account, she couldn't talk to her constituents, she couldn't fundraise, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So they're afraid of that. They're afraid of the MAGA Republicans. And what this is telling them, the Facebook people believe that the MAGA Republicans are going to grow in strength and power in the government beyond where they are today. And so all these factors are why this has happened. So let me read the story. This is in Newsmax, okay? Meta, which I just don't know why they changed their name to Meta. That's just a stupid name. And this is a name a bunch of hippies came up with that think that people care about the meaning of words and the sound of words.
I feel like
no one cares.
Zuckerberg is kind of like Bill Gates. He had like one great thing that made him a billionaire, and he's been struggling to be innovative, and it's not happening. You know what I mean? I think this was a way to be like innovative with something new, and it's not.
I don't believe that Zuckerberg created Facebook as we know it. I think all the internet and all social media was created by the deep state to monitor us, control us, watch us, listen to us, follow us, and everything else. I think these basically they might as well be trillionaires. I think they're all fronts. I'm not saying he didn't come up with an idea, but come on. No, this is all deep state. But anyway, Meta has restored Donald Trump's access to Facebook and Instagram. The Facebook spokesperson, they say Meta. I just can't say Meta. It's just stupid. Meta spokesperson Andy Stone confirmed Thursday. This follows a 2-year suspension after the Capitol Hill attack that Donald Trump had nothing to do with, by the way, on January 6th, 2021. Meta in January said it would lift Trump's suspension in the coming weeks and would institute heightened penalties of a suspension between 1 month and 2 years if Trump violated its content policies. Again, Trump now regains access to key platforms for voter outreach and political fundraising ahead of another run for the White House in 2024. He had 23 million followers on Instagram and 34 million on Facebook as of January. Now, again, he has this non-compete with True Social that's going to run until, we believe, in June. It's been reported June. So he's not going to be on these platforms yet, but he's going to. And this is huge. In particular, Facebook. And I'll tell you why. Facebook has live streaming capabilities, and they're pretty good, by the way. I used to live stream on Facebook on the radio years ago, and now I just do it on YouTube. But the Trump rallies that have been completely blacked out by the mainstream media, the mainstream cable news, we're reaching a point now with Trump on every social media platform. The campaign's going to start in the summer. The rallies will start in the summer. The cable news, with their high-paid people and everything, are going to become as relevant as newspapers. When the 24-hour cable news cycle began with CNN, back, I don't remember what year, but when CNN was new, I remember when it was new, newspapers were still a big thing. Reagan was president. And newspapers quickly faded away, and they're not even relevant anymore. I mean, the newspaper reporters aren't even relevant anymore.
So you think Facebook's becoming irrelevant?
Facebook and Twitter and Instagram allowing Trump back on there are going to mean that he is going to bypass this cable news blackout. The Murdochs have this blackout. He's going to live stream his rallies on all of these platforms. Oh, yeah. And more people will see them than ever. People want to see what they're not allowed to see.
Yeah.
So people are going to be drawn to see it. It's going to be on all these platforms. More people will watch the Trump rallies in this 2024 election cycle than watch them before in his first two runs, because they're forbidden and they're going to be exclusive on people's cell phones wherever they are, through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Truth, and whatever other platforms he's on. That So I mean, this is huge, and I'm glad this is happening for a lot of reasons. But one of the biggest outcomes of this will be the self-destruction that the cable news are bringing upon. They're very arrogant, and I remember, if you go back when television news was kind of new, it was the Kennedy era. I know it was around before that, but its relevancy really picked up during the Kennedy era, that Camelot period. Mm-hmm. And President Kennedy's the one that started with the regular televised press conferences. And newspaper people were snobs. They thought they were better than TV people, right? And we've had this whole thing now, but now that's transferred. Now the cable news people think they're elite.
Yeah.
And they're making themselves irrelevant out of their arrogance. I have always, I'm on the radio, which is older than all of these things. And radio is more relevant than ever because we talk about the things that the mainstream media won't talk about, won't let you talk about. Mm-hmm. And I always keep up to date on the latest everything. That's why I'm on all these platforms.
Well,
and everything.
News has turned into radio. Really, I mean, news has gone the way of talk radio now. It's no longer, we just give you facts and move on from story to story.
This is huge.
They have talking heads, and they go on and on and on and talk about a topic for weeks at a time. So it's kind of like
talk radio.
They've gone into that mode of talk radio.
So this is huge with Trump now back on Facebook and Instagram. He's going to be on all of them. What I'm guessing Trump will do is he'll do, when his non-compete with True Social is up, he'll do a big thing that'll be on all the platforms at once. And I'll tell you something I noticed about True Social this morning. I don't know if this was new today. This first day I noticed it. When I go to news outlets online, when I do my show prep, I'll tweet things and I just use the button. You know how websites have the button to put on social media? on Breitbart for the first time today. Now, it may have been there for a long time. This first day I noticed it. There's now a button to post to Truth Social on Breitbart.
Oh.
So that's really good. And the more of those things they get on, the better. So that's huge, okay? Now, another story just came down. And I'm going to read through this story too. But it came out. It's reported in The Hill. You know, thehill.com, they have an app too. It's free. Pretty good news source, okay? It's all the Inside Washington stuff. And I'm not saying it's conservative, but it's got stuff in there, and it's a credible source, But they're reporting right now that Ron DeSantis's presidential 2024 announcement is imminent.
Oh my goodness!
So, yeah,
it's gonna get really nasty.
Well, let me read this story.
Let me ask you this, because I was thinking about it. Yeah. There's going to come a point, especially when Trump's back on these social media platforms, when DeSantis will no longer be able to ignore him. Okay, he's taking the high road, and he's trying to be like, I'm above this, and, I'm not going to attack. There's going to come a point where he will not be able to ignore Trump any longer, and he will have to attack Trump. What do you think DeSantis, whether it's, they're going to end up debating each other at some point. What can he attack Trump on? Do you think he's going to go after him for January 6th? Do you think he's going to? No. I mean, I don't know what he can attack Trump on.
No, they agree on everything.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What can they attack each other on that would be effective? I mean, it's going to be like two pit bulls
you can't.
Fighting each other.
He's got nothing.
They agree so much ideologically. I just don't know, other than personality or personal issues, I don't know what they can go after each other on. I've never seen really anything.
Let me read through the story. This is The Hill. It's Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is on the cusp of making a final decision on a 2024 presidential run. And I'll tell you guys, this is something that no one's considered.
Yeah.
It's possible his decision will be that he's not going to run.
That would be amazing.
That is very possible. Now, before I read through this story, which I've not read yet, there are sources in here I know, but I haven't read the story yet.
He'd be smart not to.
A couple of things are possible here with Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis may announce he's not running, which would be phenomenal. But, Ron DeSantis, I'm not saying this is true, but this is within the realm of possibility. It is well within the Ron DeSantis next to Donald Trump is the MAGA Republican superstar, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's very possible that Ron DeSantis is working with President Trump, and
that's insane.
And no, it's not. No, it's not. Let me tell you. Let me finish. It's not insane. He's floating a run to scare off these Nikki Haley's and all these third raters. It's possible. Anyway, let me go back to this. Several Republicans familiar with the DeSantis deliberations say that DeSantis is almost certain to seek the presidential nomination. His advisors have begun reaching out and interviewing potential hires for a campaign.
Oh, boy.
And are gaming out the best time to announce. The formal campaign launch is months away, they say, and won't likely come until after the state legislature wraps up its regular session in May. Two sources familiar with the plan said that Governor DeSantis could announce his bid as early as late May or early June. One Republican operative said, I like that Republican operative. Who's that? That's just, I'm a Republican. If you're listening to this and you're a Republican operative.
I guess so.
It's such a vague term. It's anyone who's a Republican and talks is an operative. One Republican operative said, I think his mind is pretty much made up at this point. My read on it is, let's get through the session, get some stuff done, and see where things stand. But unless something changes drastically between now and then, I'd say he's a go. DeSantis has said little about his 24 ambitions, but his growing stature within the GOP is clear. Okay, so I don't know. This is, I do think it is very possible. His announcement will be that he's not running. It's possible. It's more likely that he is going to run.
I think Trump attacking him is making him even more determined to take him on. I think it's pissing him off. And you got two alpha males here fighting it out, and they're very similar in their personalities. Okay, and you have Trump who's throwing out all these stories about him and saying all these horrible things.
No. He retruthed one story and said,
but he said other things. So. He has been sprinkling little things around, for the last few months, and DeSantis hasn't attacked him at all. Mm-hmm. And Trump's been trolling him to get him to respond and get him into a dogfight with him.
Yeah.
And like I said, he can't avoid that forever, DeSantis. He'll eventually have to acknowledge that. But, it'll just be interesting to see what happens here. Because like I said, you have two guys that agree on pretty much everything. And when that happens, when they start debating and going after each other, it becomes an attack on the personality. And I'm really curious what DeSantis will attack Trump about, what he sees as his weaknesses, because you have to go for a weakness. And Trump's already said something about DeSantis closing the state during COVID. Well, Trump closed the whole country, so I don't know how far that can go.
No, the state wasn't closed.
It wasn't closed either, so he's wrong on that. But he did truth something to that effect a few weeks ago.
I'd have to see that.
I think when I saw it, I think when he saying things like that, he's really stretching for something to attack him on. That's a real stretch because it's not even accurate. And I don't know what DeSantis can attack him on. You know what I mean? So they agreed on everything. They've worked together. It's just it's bizarre.
Well,
it's just killing me that this is happening.
This is a possibility. Okay, now they can't run together.
No,
because they're both Florida residents, and if you are from the same state, you can't get the electoral college votes.
Right.
And Florida's got a lot of them. This isn't Rhode Island, okay, or Wyoming.
Right.
There's too many.
Yeah.
And we're going to need everyone anyway, but we got a lot in Florida. So, Ron DeSantis is a lame duck in Florida right now, okay? Our governors have a 2-term limit.
Yeah.
Our Senate seats are taken by Rick Scott, who was governor before DeSantis. He's not going anywhere. And Little Marco, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah. They're like in for
so he's
life.
got nowhere to go.
Right.
It's very possible, it's not unusual for political rivals to end up a team when a presidential administration comes around. And this happened with Bush and Reagan. H.W. Bush ran a very nasty campaign against Ronald Reagan. It was H.W. Bush that came up with that term voodoo economics to describe the Reaganomics. Okay, so things get nasty with people. And they end up being teams. Ron DeSantis can't be the vice president with Donald Trump, but he could be the attorney general or something. And Trump could very well make a deal with him to make him a cabinet post. I don't know if it'd be attorney general. I don't know what it would be. But he could make a deal with Ron DeSantis. And
I think that the establishment, from what I've heard, has gotten in DeSantis' head.
That's what they all say.
And I don't think that's going to happen. He's not a follower. He is a leader. And he leads a very important state. He gets a lot of publicity. He's a top guy. And like you said, he's not the governor of Rhode Island. He's the governor of Florida, which is the state that a lot of people talk about. A lot of people have moved to.
Hottest state in America.
He's made a lot of things happen here. The state's probably doing better than it's ever done, ever in its existence. He's an amazing governor. Everybody loves him. He flipped a major Democratic county. So he's on a high, and I think the establishment are throwing money at him. I think they've gotten in his head, and I think he's going to run, and I think they're telling him, you're the only one that can beat him. You're the only one that can do it, and they want, this is Trump's last stand. This is it. If he doesn't get the nomination and win, that's it. He can't run anymore.
He
could, but it would never happen. It just would not happen.
Now, last night, Kathy and I, for the first time, slept on our new MyPillows. Mike Lindell has a new MyPillow. It's called the MyPillow 2.0, which is buy one, get one free with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Now, listen, you can take advantage of all the specials at MyPillow.com, but this is brand new. The MyPillow 2.0, we ordered it on Monday. We had it on Wednesday and slept on it Wednesday night. I took it to the radio station today and showed everybody on YouTube. And it has that patented fill inside, but it also has temperature regulating technology in the MyPillow 2.0 that perfectly regulates your body temperature, the temperature of your head, so you don't get hot and have to flip the pillow over, which wakes you up and interrupts your sleep. And that pillow is amazing, Kathy, isn't it?
Yeah, the other pillows did that too, but this is even better.
Not like this.
Which is amazing because I have my medicine makes me hot. My skin's always hot and red. So I have that problem at night.
You're on a lot of medications.
I'm on a lot of medication that does that. And so I have that problem, especially with my head. And I get really hot and I have to flip the pillow. The other pillows are good and they do that too. But I couldn't believe they actually were able to improve on it. This is actually better. And we got the fullest one, Phil, and I really
you can get
love
any
it.
fill you want.
Get any fill you want. I
like
the firmer.
Ours are firm.
It really supports your head.
we got 2 firm pillows, but when you do the buy one, get one free, you can choose a different fill level for the other one. You don't have to get the same for both.
Yeah, it's like as good as the MyPillow, but better.
Yeah, and I noticed,
thought it could even get any better.
I noticed when I took the MyPillow 2.0 to the radio station, I was holding it, and I put my hand on it, and my hand just felt nice and cool, and it was so nice. Soothing and relaxing. So listen, it's buy one, get one free, the MyPillow 2.0. This is a new invention of Mike Lindell's, which it's amazing to me. He had this perfect invention, and he improved on it, which you wouldn't think would be possible. And I don't know how Mike Lindell has time to develop all these new things when he's so busy doing these other things. Go to MyPillow.com. I know you might say you already have a MyPillow. Kathy and I have all the MyPillows.
This is an upgrade.
This is
just a good upgrade.
This is a must-have. We have the regular MyPillow that started it all. We've got the travel MyPillows. We've got the Giza Elegance MyPillows. And this MyPillow 2.0, all those other pillows are now the guest MyPillows. Yeah. These are better than ever. It's amazing. Buy one, get one free, the MyPillow 2.0. Go to MyPillow.com. Use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And, of course, you're always supporting everything I do, the podcast with Kathy, my YouTube channel, the Steve Kane Radio Show. Anytime you use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, you are supporting all the content that I bring to you. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
Take your financial game to the next level. Take control of your financial and personal well-being with The Winning Playbook from authors Rob Welsh and Jonathan R. Scott, available on Amazon. This is the essential guide to transforming your career into a money-making machine and becoming the CEO of your own legacy. Financial empowerment expert Rob Welsh and former NFL offensive tackle Jonathan R. Scott have dedicated themselves to successfully coaching athletes of all levels to make their money work for them. The Winning Playbook is your personal financial coach, giving you the ins and outs of how to make the most of the rewards from your hard work. You will learn what you must know to get what you want from life. It's a well-written, practical personal finance book and a must-read for athletes and entrepreneurs alike. From authors Rob Welsh and Jonathan R. Scott, The Winning Playbook, strategies for life on and off the field. Order your copy on Amazon right now. Are you looking for a unique and profitable business opportunity? Have you thought about an ignition interlock device business? To give offenders a second chance, courts are often willing to allow convicted DUI drivers to install interlock devices so they can continue to drive their vehicles. These devices work by having the driver perform a breathalyzer test in order to start their car. More and more judges are offering these devices, and you can learn everything you need to know in the book, How to Start an Interlock Business, available online at theinterlockbook.com. This downloadable ebook has tons of useful information that you won't find anywhere else. In this must-read book, you'll learn how to find ignition interlock partners, how to pick the right business model, understand the different types of services, learn to analyze potential service center locations, discover how to streamline business operations, how to apply for the right business license, how to stay in compliance, and much, much more. What are you waiting for? Don't blow and drive. Read and buy the book, How to Start an Interlock Business, online at theinterlockbook.com. That's theinterlockbook.com. Bring the smell of freshly roasted coffee beans straight to your doorstep. Start your day with the best cup of coffee from Robinson & Sons Coffee. Robinson & Sons Coffee Company is a veteran-owned, on-demand online coffee shop, sourcing their beans from the finest coffee-growing regions around the world, carefully selecting only the best to bring to your cup. They believe every cup of coffee should be a unique and enjoyable experience, taking great care to ensure you receive top-quality coffee roast, packed fresh and shipped quickly. It's easy to find your favorite coffee roast by checking out their extensive selection of coffee options and flavors that are suitable for every taste and preference. Discover your new favorite coffee today. Visit RobinsonandSonsCoffee.com to shop right now. RobinsonandSonsCoffee.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. All right, Leah Thomas hasn't been in the news in a while and is back. A new report... Riley Gaines, a ex-12-time All-American SEC champion swimmer for Kentucky, says that transgender swimmer Leah Thomas dropped his pants and exposed his male genitalia in the women's locker room following swim meets plural. So walked around with everything hanging out. Recalling her uneasiness after being forced to change in front of a man. You know, I understand that this happened in the locker room, but you can go change anywhere. You don't have to change in the locker room. I would not have done it. I would have refused. But, you know, anyway.
What needs to happen, and I was talking to Emily about this, because that surfer, Bethany Hamilton, is boycotting the girl who lost her arm. She's a professional surfer. They want to start letting transgenders into surfing competition, men that say they're women, and she's going to boycott. And I told Emily what needs to happen is the girls that compete need to completely boycott their sport.
That's right.
They need to refuse to compete.
That's right.
And if they do that, that'll put an end to this. They need to collectively say, but the problem is a lot of these things are happening in colleges and they have scholarships and they don't want to lose their scholarship. So they go with the flow. But that's the only thing that can happen is if people say, I'm not going to participate if this guy does.
This kind of if I went into a girl's locker room, a women's locker room, and dropped my pants, I'd get arrested.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay?
Just put on a wig and you'll be cool with it.
Gaines told Fox News she wants the NCAA to establish separate locker rooms and changing areas for transgendered athletes.
Yeah.
We were not forewarned beforehand that we would be sharing a locker room with Leah, she explained.
That would make me so uncomfortable.
It's bizarre. It's so stupid. It's just bizarre. We did not give our consent. They
you
did
wouldn't
not
feel safe.
They did not ask for our consent. But in the locker room, we turned around and there's a 6'4" biological man dropping his pants and watching us undress.
That's crazy.
And we were exposed to male genitalia. Gaines continued. That to me was worse than the competition piece. Not even probably a year, 2 years ago, this would have been considered some form of sexual assault or voyeurism.
Absolutely.
But now, not even are they just allowing it to happen. It's almost as if these large organizations are encouraging it.
Well, look what happened with the gymnastics. They had that guy who was molesting all the gymnasts for years and years. That doctor, he's in jail now, and they turned their eye to that too.
The Olympic team.
They let it happen on the Olympic team. They all testified, and they knew it was going on.
Yeah.
These kind of perversions and things are always brushed under the carpet because there's a lot of money at stake. There's competitions, and they want to just not. I just don't know why they're allowing this in the first place. What are they trying to prove? What are they worried about? Are they worried about getting sued? It makes no sense. But if I was one of those girls in the locker room, I would absolutely feel uncomfortable in there. And the guy's like a flasher. He's like getting off on flashing himself to the ladies. How is he different than a guy that flashes people in the park?
See, I believe Leah Thomas is a faker and a cheater.
I agree.
Okay, I don't think Leah Thomas, I don't care what hormones they're taking, is transitioning. I think they're just a cheater to win these meets.
I think he just grew his hair long.
And grew his hair long and claims to be on some things. I don't know, but you know what I'm curious about, and I know I hate to be, I don't like to be crude. I know this is the internet. We could say anything we want. I don't do that.
Go ahead and be crude.
But I'm wondering if Leah Thomas was aroused in a way that you could visually tell in the locker room with these ladies, these college athletes.
I'm sure if he was, you would have heard about it.
I don't know.
I could imagine if he was, they would have said he was aroused.
This girl, Gaines, I've seen her on TV. She's like a nice girl, and that's not the kind of thing she would just say. I think you might have to ask her.
But if that happened, then I think he'd be done. Officially, I think he'd be done because that's clearly he's attracted to
women.
Yeah, I don't know how it works because Caitlyn Jenner says he still likes women.
Kathy,
so I don't get it.
They're just making this stuff up. Nobody knows how it works. Okay,
I can't figure it out. I'm sorry.
I tell you, Star Trek has this next week. Star Trek Picard debuts on Paramount Plus. This new Star Trek Picard series. They got a new ship that the old Enterprise crew are on. And I was watching this video on YouTube going over who the new bridge crew characters are, and one of them is a gender-neutral, non-binary person. And the backstory on this person is that one of the most sought out by all the Starfleet captains to be on their bridge because they're the best at whatever it is they do, this non-binary person. We were watching a couple weeks ago, before I went on the cruise, a new cartoon on Disney, Strange World, and the main character is gay. And the entire, that's where I'm going next.
Yeah. Crazy.
I texted you this story that I'm going to get to next. And the main character in this kid's cartoon is gay, and the whole family, it was just like a normal thing. It wasn't even discussed, and had a crush on a boy who was transitioning and everything else. And now there's a story that I saw a couple hours ago that I texted you, Kathy.
Yeah.
And this one really is a dagger in my heart. I'm telling you, this is like they've really gone for me on this one. I know a lot of you say cancel Disney Plus. I am a huge Star Wars fan and Star Trek fan. I have Disney Plus because they have Star Wars on there, and they have these new Star Wars series, Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. There's some other shows coming out, a Ahsoka Tano show.
Yeah.
And I love Star Wars. I saw Star Wars in the theater in 1977, and it is a part of my life. And
me too.
One of the most exciting moments in my life is when I got to meet Mark Hamill in person, in private. And that was like my boyhood dream come true. And that Luke Skywalker character is a very important character, not just to me, but every other 50-year-old guy in the country, right?
Yeah.
And
girl, I love Luke Skywalker too.
Okay.
It's not exclusive to guys. Star Wars is universally loved.
Okay, so listen to this. Disney Plus is leaning towards exploring the I can even hardly say it, I'm so upset. Let me start over. Disney Plus is leaning towards exploring the LGBTQ identity of Luke Skywalker. And I'm not making this up. Disney Star Wars franchise has been making changes to George Lucas's original creation for over a decade. I'm reading an article here. These changes have included updates to the characters, storylines, and themes. In recent years, there's been a push to include more diversity and representation in the Star Wars franchise, including discussions about the potential for LGBTQ plus representation among characters. Recently, a controversy emerged regarding adding preferred pronouns to all Star Wars characters on Wikipedia. Wikipedia is like the Star Wars version,
Oh, that's cute, like Wookiee.
Yeah, like Wiki. Some felt that this was unnecessary and went against the original spirit of the space opera. Others thought it was an important step towards creating a more inclusive and diverse universe. One character that has been the focus of discussion, these are official discussions at Disney, okay? One character that has been the focus of discussions about LGBTQ plus representation is Luke Skywalker. In June, a short story was published in Stories of the Jedi and Sith, in which Luke Skywalker was depicted as being attracted to a man. The story is now part of Disney's Star Wars canon. Not everyone is on board making Skywalker part of the LGBTQ plus community, as this is a significant departure from George Lucas's original vision for the character. Yeah, Luke Skywalker is based on George Lucas. Luke Lucas, it's not an accident.
And he had a thing for his sister.
Well, he didn't know he was...
Right, but he had a thing for Princess Leia.
Before we knew they were brother and sister.
Right, obviously.
Yeah. They argue that Skywalker was never intended to be gay, bisexual, or a member of the LGBTQ plus community. Others, however, believe that such representation is essential to creating a more inclusive and diverse universe.
So who decides... By the way, I just read another article. Disney Plus has lost thousands of members, like 3,000 subscriptions.
Millions.
Let me see the article.
That doesn't seem like very many. 3,000 doesn't seem like very many.
Let me see. I have the article here.
I saw that article too. It was a lot of people are leaving Disney Plus because of the wokeism. People are fed up with it. They don't want their kids seeing.
I can't find the article, but they've lost a lot of subscribers in the last year.
Yeah.
Disney Plus, and I'm sure this has something to do with it. And this isn't going to help. Plus, their content's not that good anymore. But their original content they're putting out now is just all about this pushing this woke agenda. And I don't understand why they keep doing this. But I don't know why they have to take an established character.
Where's that Luke Skywalker article?
I don't know why they have to take an established, beloved character and do something. I don't understand that.
I'll tell you why, but I need the article back because there was one quote here in the end that explains a little bit about how this comes to be. Okay, I lost where I was. Hold on, let me get this, guys. Okay. Writer, this is a writer that was with Disney and Star Wars. Writer Sam Maggs, hired by Disney Star Wars, openly admits to including queer characters in her work as part of her mission to promote LGBTQ plus representation in media. So you got an activist there.
Well, yeah, a lot of activists at Disney.
Okay.
And they don't care that the company's doing bad. They just want to push their agenda.
Here's the thing with Disney, okay? Well, Disney is woke, but I'm talking about the Star Wars franchise where this is coming from, with Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
The woman that runs the Star Wars division, Lucasfilm, for Disney, is named Kathleen Kennedy. She worked with George Lucas, Spielberg, and Robert Zemeckis and all of these greats of our childhood growing up. She worked on all these movies, Star Wars, the indie movies, Back to the Future, everything. She hates these men. In particular, she hates George Lucas. So what I believe she's doing is making Luke Skywalker gay to get even with George Lucas. She hates, that's why she's been destroying his franchise and making all these changes. She's just a man hater. She particularly hates George Lucas. Yeah. And she knows more than anyone that Luke Skywalker is based on George Lucas himself. The name is Lucas Luke, right? And it has something to do with that.
He never should have given up control of his creation. That was that is an example of greed getting the better of you. And they threw a lot of money at him, like $4 billion, like he needed it. And he relinquished complete control of his franchise, and they've destroyed it. They've absolutely destroyed his legacy. What happened with
George Lucas?
I'm sure he regrets it on some level.
George Lucas married this liberal woman from Chicago who's on that Gayle King show. She's friends with Obama, and she a lot of people. George Lucas's wife is black. A lot of people may not know that. And she got him into all. Not that he wasn't a liberal. He's a Hollywood guy. He lived in San Francisco. But she got him into this hardcore radical liberalism. I don't think he'd be
okay with this.
And his wife wanted the money and talked him into selling it. That's what happened. You know how wives are. But
always blame the women.
When it comes to money, they do. Yeah. But this is god awful. Yeah. And this one here. I mean, this really hits home. Listen, I'm not against having gay representation. Okay, there are gay people, and if you're making art and you're making movies or television shows, and it fits the story, it makes sense to have a character.
Right. This is just gratuitous and going back.
Well, a lot of these things are just stupid. This whole Leah Thomas thing, this preferred pronoun thing, this non-binary thing, going back to classic, iconic characters like the great Luke Skywalker here, and making them gay it's over the line. And this is the thing. If you notice, people talk about this a lot. Very rare. You watch new television shows on network television. The only white guys are the villains, right? And everything's led by women, usually minority women, and that's fine. But it's overrepresentation. These groups make up a certain percentage of our society. Not that many people are gay. I know
this is why nobody watches award shows anymore.
That's right.
Nobody goes to the movies anymore, and this is why people have a problem with the entertainment industry. But they don't seem to care.
That's correct.
They don't seem to care. Because they are still pumping out. Now, they are doing a Toy Story 5 with Tim Allen and Tom Hanks. And so that'll be good. And those are good movies. They're doing Frozen 3. So they're going back to their big franchises to try to boost up their sales and get people back in the parks. And I understand that because those are the characters that are in the parks that are established. But any new movies, any new content, what the problem is they have all these young writers, first of all, that are dumb. They're woke. They've grown up on social media. They probably have never read a classic piece of literature in their life. We watch a lot of old movies. And if you watch old movies, you can see how they influence some of the newer movies. Like we watched, I can't remember the name of it, some movie, and I was watching with you, and I said, what was the movie we watched where we said this is like Indiana Jones? It was some movie from the 60s. Or if you read classic books like Swiss Family Robinson or anything Jules Verne and all that stuff.
We watched Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Journey to the Center of the Earth.
With Pat Boone.
Yeah, with Pat Boone. And they were like going on an expedition and all this stuff. And they don't make movies like that anymore, where it's like just fun and an adventure and it's just a good story. And because you have these young writers and all they care about is we got to make everybody comfortable with gayness. We got to make everybody, we're going to force it down your throat, for lack of a better phrase. We're going to make everybody love us and everybody accept us. And we're going to use these movies as a vehicle and force you how to think and how to feel. And they've taken the fun out of everything. I always say this, liberals are suck the fun out of everything. They've taken the fun out of everything. They can't just make a movie. They're not capable because they don't know how to think differently. They don't know how to get out of their own head. They're not capable of just making a good,
part
fun
of the problem
movie.
is that the arts there's overrepresentation in the arts of gays.
Well, these young people are too woke.
And they live in a gay world where everyone's gay, and they think it's more normal than it is.
But it's always been like that. There's always been gays in the internet. That's nothing new. The problem is the younger people are pushing an agenda more than ever.
This is what happened. This Harvey Weinstein stuff.
Yeah.
They got rid of all the heterosexual executives in the studios and at the networks.
The men. Yeah, that's true.
And they brought in women and gays to run things. And the heterosexual men were making content. Star Wars, I know, is for everybody, but Star Wars is primarily for men, guys, boys. I know it's for girls too, but
whatever.
And it's not it's not a franchise created for gay people alone. I mean, you can be gay and like it's just bizarre. They've just lost their minds.
It's not a factor, but they're making it now. They have a new cartoon. This is another reason Disney Plus is doing bad. They brought back this cartoon called The Proud Family or something. It was on in the 80s. It's a black family, and the kids did a rap about reparations and how white people own slaves.
Yeah.
Does that really belong in a children? And some people say, yes, kids need to learn and understand that. But I just feel that the way they're getting the mess, I learned about slavery in school and stuff like that, but I didn't learn that I was a bad person because I'm white on top of it. And that's what they're teaching now. They're teaching young kids that if you are white, you're inherently racist and you are responsible for slavery and you need to pay for it. And that's what they're teaching kids now. And Disney Plus, they have lost a lot of subscribers. And I'm telling you, I don't watch it that much. We do watch some of the old movies, but I almost have half a mind sometimes of canceling it because I'm getting aggravated.
I know a lot of you will say cancel it.
I like a lot of the old films. That's the problem.
Last night before bed, we watched Tron.
Yeah.
I love Tron.
Yeah. We watch a lot of the old movies on there.
Bruce Boxleitner, Jeff Bridges. A couple weeks ago, we watched The Black Hole. I love Star Wars. That's on there.
Yeah.
And
a lot of good old movies.
I don't watch a lot of the new stuff. I watched this Strange World because there was a controversy about it, and I wanted to see it so we could talk about it. And it didn't take long to find that controversy. But I don't think that we should abandon what we love and what we grow up with because some wokesters are polluting it today.
But that might be the only, but see, I don't know if they're even listening. People are unsubscribing and they're continue to do it.
I don't know if there's a world without Star Wars. I know, it seems crazy.
Well,
it seems crazy.
The Star Wars that we know and love, yes.
Well, listen, we can all have hope in that now that Ron DeSantis has taken over Walt Disney World. Ron DeSantis now controls Walt Disney World in Florida.
When does that go through?
It's going through this summer. It's happening as we speak. He took away their independent government status.
He's going to take it over now.
And now he runs Walt Disney World. They are no longer like the Vatican City. They don't have their own little government anymore.
That'll be interesting.
So they're going to have to start playing ball with MAGA Ron DeSantis. All right, we're going to take our last break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. I'm Brian Craig. Always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Back after this.
Want to know where all the bodies are buried? Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob, Everybody Out of the Pool. Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob. Welcome to Mob-Ammy Beach. This book is a fictionalized account of Miltenberg working at a mob-owned Miami Beach hotel in the 70s. If you're a fan of The Godfather, Goodfellas, or The Sopranos, you will love this story. It's full of colorful characters and on Wisecracking Wise Guys. It's a story with everything from Playboy bunnies and weaponized parrots to shattering the glass ceiling and getting away with murder, all in paradise. This is a wise guy tale you've never heard. Surrounded by pools, the trick for Bobby Moskowitz was not slipping in the one thicker than water. Bobby lived to tell the tales, and now you can read all about it. The funniest mob novel since Jimmy Breslin's The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight. Pool Boy to the Mob. Everybody out of the pool. From author Robert Allen Miltenberg. Available on Amazon. Order your copy right now. Do you like watching gamers live stream on Twitch? Then you'll love the Twitch stream OG Dicedon. That's OG Dice DADON. Check him out for live and entertaining streaming to learn new strategies on the top games. You can chill and have fun as he shows you his strategies and winning gameplay. Join the community right now. OG Dicedon. OG Dice DADON. He streams Monday through Friday starting around 5 p.m. Central Time. OG Dicedon on Twitch. Follow, subscribe, and tell all your friends. Now available on Amazon is the book, Your Happiness Depends on Your Choice. Are you on the right path or the wrong path? Our universe is always moving and evolving based on precise, absolute, and unchangeable laws. If everyone proceeds in accordance with the laws, they are most definitely headed for perfection, and they will reach a happy, successful life, a life filled with peace. Whatever path you choose and have persistence and perseverance treading it and have no intention of changing your path, then the forces and facilities in the universe will accompany you and help you tread that path. But how do you choose the right path and walk with perseverance? The answers to those questions and more are found in the new and must-read book, Your Happiness Depends on Your Choice. Available on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover editions. Order your copy right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. Oh, Kathy just got the count, 2.4 million.
It says here, Disney Plus should start thinking about changing its name to Disney Minus. The company released its first quarter 2023 results late Wednesday. The company barely gained any subscribers in North America while losing millions more watchers in the wider global market.
The wider.
In the wider, sorry.
Okay. So that's how you said whiter.
Wider global market. They've lost, it says here, overall 2.4 million subscribers this quarter.
That's a lot.
Globally, that's a lot.
Okay, there's a big story here that this is there's so suppression on this story. If the political parties were reversed in this story, the entire country would be shut down, and the media would be in New Jersey, and this is all that would be discussed. Here's the headline. This is in Town Hall. Another Republican politician has been shot and killed in New Jersey. Let me read this article again. It's in Town Hall. What is going on in New Jersey? Hunting season has begun in the Garden State, but deer, bear, and other game species are not in season. It's Republican politicians. Leah covered how Councilwoman Eunice Dwumfor, age 30, was shot and killed in, I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, Sayraville on February 2nd. Now, another council member, also a Republican, Russell Heller, was shot and killed in the PSE&G parking lot at around 7 a.m. He was seated on the Milford Township Council. The woman who was killed, the first Republican, was a woman. She's black. The guy, I don't have a picture of him. The culprit was Gary Curtis, a former employee who was later found in a parking lot in Bridgewater Township with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He succumbed to his injuries. As reported, we don't know a motive, but the timing is unnerving for the second shooting, given the political climate. Elected Republicans are being picked off in Jersey, and this appears to be an emerging narrative. Let me tell you, now again, we don't know what this is all about, and these are two separate incidents. But this is the thing, okay? The media, the left, the Democrats promote these terrible negative stereotypes of Republicans, and people think that Republicans are a whole bunch of terrible things and that they deserve what happens to them. You know, there was, and they transfer that to white people. Then what do they tell you? Republicans are white supremacists. White supremacists are Nazis.
They even tell you that black Republicans are white supremacists.
That's correct. Even those black Memphis cops, they're white supremacists, exactly. Right? They killed that poor guy.
It's crazy.
But they preach in school from K through graduate school on television that Republicans are white supremacists. White supremacists are Nazis. And if you think someone's a Nazi, you are entitled to do whatever you want to that person because they're the lowest form of life. And
they deserve it.
So, yeah. So a lot of things, when they happen to Republicans, the media don't cover it. Like these stories here, very little coverage. It's handled like a local story in Jersey. Mm-hmm. Although if there's a purse snatching in New York, they talk about it for 4 hours on Fox. The reason they don't report it and make a big crisis out of it is because they think that these Republicans deserve it just by the fact that they are Republicans. Yep. And it's like there used to be a lot of negative stereotypes about black men and people long ago, and well, not all that long ago in our lifetime, where like if someone was walking down a sidewalk and there was a black man walking near them, behind them, they get nervous. Those days are pretty much over. But
now they've reversed it. They've switched it over.
If you have a Republican walking behind you, there's a problem. There's something for you to worry about.
Or any white male, really.
Exactly. And it's really awful. Now, I don't know if these two things are related. We don't know. But I know this. If there were two unrelated murders of Democrats, one of them being a black woman, the entire media would be there and they would be covering it.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I want to talk about, there was a little bit of controversy on the radio show this morning involving James O'Keefe. And I want to talk about this, okay? It has been widely reported. I was shocked. I woke up to see this story, okay? I woke up and I saw this story that James O'Keefe has been put on paid administrative leave from Project Veritas. And on Friday, the Project Veritas board will decide his future with them.
They're giving him the Papa John treatment.
I was saying that they're moving him out. They're firing him. And a lot of people got upset with me about this. A lot of people. And they said, that's not true. Project Veritas says this. Project Veritas says that. There have been people inside Project Veritas that showed private memorandums to members of the press. And there's big articles. There's an article in the Gateway Pundit. There's a big article in Rolling Stone and other places that the cover story is not the truth. Yeah. Okay. Mark Dice, after I went off the air, he had the same conclusion I did. He had a YouTube video titled Project Veritas Fired James O'Keefe, or James O'Keefe was fired. He used fired in his title. This is, I went through this on the radio this morning, and I just want to briefly go over it again. James O'Keefe is the most important living investigative journalist in America, okay? He may be the greatest ever. He's one of the greatest ever without question, and he's certainly the greatest living investigative journalist. They've been after this guy since he started that Acorn. You know, he exposed Acorn. He saved America. I'm not going to go through the whole story. I talked about it this morning. If you want to hear that, go to my YouTube channel and look at the radio show this morning. I go through how James O'Keefe saved America by exposing Acorn with that pimp and hoe thing he did, which was amazing. They've been after James O'Keefe for about 12 or 13 years. They've done everything, right? His house was raided recently with the FBI over the Ashley Biden diary. You guys know everything he's been through. And now they have finally found a way to bring him down. And there's some human resources complaints. They're saying he fired some people he wasn't authorized to fire. They're talking about how he mistreats employees. I would imagine that James O'Keefe is highly paranoid of the people that work for him.
Do you think any of this could be true? Because he could be getting paranoid and could be.
He should be paranoid. He's got reason to be paranoid.
Being in that line of work, it's high stress.
He's got reason to be paranoid. And he could be paranoid,
and maybe he is acting a certain way that,
he
I don't know.
He probably is hard on his employees to try to smoke out spies.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And
he might be worried about that.
And believe me, if they don't have spies around him, they've been trying for years. They've tried everything to bring him down. And there's a lot of things they would like to know about how he operates. One of the things I think they'd like to know is how he gets these people connected with these people that spill their guts from these the schools and we had that thing with Pfizer recently and all of this. He does something through dating apps, and I'm sure they would like to know how he gets his people
I would
in
love
with these
to
people.
know that.
And there's all kinds of things. So he has good reason to be paranoid, but all these things we're hearing, they're using this. They found another way through wokeism and the human resource department to bring him down. And I went through this today. In the past, during the internet age, we've had, Andrew Breitbart coined this phrase, citizen journalism. We've had, here's the list of the top journalists of the internet age, right? Matt Drudge, Andrew Breitbart, right? Julian Assange, and James O'Keefe. I know there are others. Okay, those are the top 4. Andrew Breitbart is dead, right? The Drudge Report is useless. It was taken over by somebody, and it's just a liberal rag now. And Julian Assange has been in prison for years. They'll never let him free. James O'Keefe is the only one left, and now they're bringing him down in a different way. Okay, and I hope he survives this. He very well may. He may stay at Project Veritas, but I think it's unlikely. And Mark Dice agrees with me on that.
I think the wheels have been in motion for a while.
Yeah. So, and the way this operates,
too bad. I like him.
He's wonderful. Breitbart is not what it was when Andrew Breitbart was alive, because a lot of these things, you got a very charismatic guy with a lot of connections, famous things happen. Breitbart is good, but it's not like it used to be. Okay. Project Veritas without James O'Keefe will never be anything close to what it is.
Well, they
with
know
James
that.
O'Keefe.
That's what they want to happen.
That's right. And James O'Keefe, we don't know what his business dealings are, but he very well may have a non-compete with Project Veritas that could stop him from going elsewhere, doing anything for years.
How does a company he started get a board of directors and get where he loses control?
This happens. Guys start companies in their garage. Look at Wozniak, right? He started Apple in the garage, and he doesn't run that company anymore. I'm sure he's got some influence because of he's Wozniak.
But I mean, how does that go about? Do they just hand it over? They get a lot of money, and
there's shareholders, people, and there's investors, and you're dealing with all that, and you lose authority, you lose power.
Well, I'm sure he gets a lot of donations from big money people that are like conservative, that probably give a lot of money to him, so they probably do have a lot of have something established.
Yeah, I mean, but
with that,
this is really bad, and I never thought they'd get James O'Keefe like this. And I'll just say this: he got. I wouldn't be surprised if the Biden people are behind this, because that Ashley Biden diary really triggered.
Yes,
Ashley, Project Veritas, James O'Keefe and others with Project Veritas were raided by the feds over the Ashley Biden diary. They say it was illegally obtained. Ashley Biden left her diary at the rehab for the same reason that Hunter left his laptops at the computer repair shop. They did the exact same thing with two different types. One with computers, one with the diary. Because they hate their dad and they wanted to get even with their dad.
That's right.
And that Ashley Biden diary has caused James O'Keefe a lot of trouble. And I know everyone's saying the Pfizer thing. I'm not saying the Pfizer thing didn't help, but that's too recent. I think the Ashley Biden diary thing was like when they finally said, we got to find a way to bring it down. And somebody came up with this idea of doing it through human resources. And that's like when they got Al Capone on income tax evasion as opposed to his murders.
Well, they have to find a legitimate reason other than saying, we just don't like you. They have to find a legitimate reason in his contract that they can throw him out based on that.
And I'm really upset about
it's all like so he can't sue. It's like they have to do it legally and find something and have evidence and things like that. Letters, complaints.
And I'm very upset about this. And Andrew Breitbart, he was mentored by the great late Andrew Breitbart. Okay? I mean, and this is, he is, I know there's other people that have the Breitbart connection, but not like James O'Keefe.
Yeah.
James O'Keefe was not only worked with Breitbart and not only, gave us those Acorn videos, which were amazing. He was the genius behind the Lila Rose expose that brought, that Lila Rose and James O'Keefe have a large part in the overturning of Roe v. Wade through that reporting they did. He's a very important person. And this is really a bad and scary time, and I do believe it has to do with the Bidens. I think it's all about the Bidens. These are very bad people.
Well,
very bad people.
We know that for sure.
Yeah. Now, I want to take a moment to thank all of our Patreon supporters. You know, those of you that are Patreon supporters, thank you so much for your support. Your support means a lot, and it helps us out a lot. It really does. And if you would like to support the program, becoming a Patreon supporter is a great way to do that. And if you don't know what that is, you become a patron of the program. Patreon, you become a patron of the program. And Patreon supporters do have access to commercial-free editions of each and every podcast episode, and there are other perks as well. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the episode description, and there's also a direct link on my website, BrianCraigShow.com. Now, our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every podcast episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Rome, Wisconsin, Mike P, Paulette, Carlos, and Maria. These are all of our top Patreon supporters. Thank you all. Well, listen, we're out of time for today. Leave your thoughts on the program in the comments. If you're unaware, the Brian Craig Show podcast is on all podcast platforms. If there's a podcast platform, we are on it. Search for the Brian Craig Show podcast. And of course, I upload our podcast to my YouTube channel, Brian Craig on YouTube, and we live premiere the podcast. So there's a live chat room, like when I'm live streaming on the radio, there's a live chat room. We're all in there. We're talking, hanging out, and having conversations during the program. So you can also look us up on YouTube. Just search Brian Craig on YouTube, but on all platforms that have podcast, including Audible and Spotify, the Brian Craig Show podcast will come right up. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll talk to you next time.
Parents, grandparents, and teachers, there's a new children's book you will enjoy with your little ones. Buckley is a Busy Boy, from author Susan Hines. This fun children's book is filled with colorful illustrations and easy-to-follow rhyming text that will teach children how to connect with other children, help them learn, and discover how to play with other kids. Your kids will want to read Buckley is a Busy Boy over and over again. Join in on the adventures of Buckley as he learns healthy routines, explores the outdoors, and learns the meaning of family. Order your copy of Buckley is a Busy Boy from author Susan Hines. Online at tjppublications.com. That's tjppublications.com for Buckley is a Busy Boy from author Susan Hines.